Hello everyone, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today, and happy National Mentoring Month if you did not know. So my name is Sherry Kalade. I'm the Community Relations Manager here, and welcome to this event with our great panel. And before we get started, we're going to show a quick video.
30 minutes of a cup of coffee. A laugh, a smile, a message. Thumbs up emojis, cloud emojis, confetti emojis. Loaded nachos at halftime. It takes 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries, and a girl, you got this. It takes a quiz at age 5 at the park. That's 2 out of 3. A spin dash for the win. A Sunday morning gift. A bright splash of color. This is how you make an impact on the kids' life. It may sound small, but it's all they need. A word of encouragement. Someone to talk to with advice. And the time it takes to enjoy a slice or two, you can make a difference. So go ahead, share a few hours a month. Share your skills, share a song, share your thoughts, share a moment. Share a dance and share with the world. Because yeah, mentorship sounds huge. The truth is, it takes little to be big.
Yes, so it takes little to be big. And before we get into that, I would like to introduce our host and MC, Mitchell Parker.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, y'all can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Dr. Jocelyn Mitchell Parker, and I am the program director here at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southeast Michigan. And I am honored to serve as your host for today's event. First, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our incredible vendors for being here and supporting the work that we do. I also want to give a special thank you to our esteemed panelists up here who will be sharing their wisdom and their experiences with us today. And of course, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and for your commitment to empowering the next generation and for recognizing the power of mentorship in transforming lives. Today we gather not just to talk about mentorship, but to put a lens on its profound importance, on how having a mentor can change the trajectory of a young person's life. And I am a living witness to that. And in thinking about this, I'm reminded of the mighty Maasai tribe of Kenya. Among the many fabled and accomplished tribes of Africa, none were considered more fearsome or more intelligent in battle than the Maasai warriors. And yet, despite their strength, their traditional greeting to one another was not about war, it wasn't about wealth, but instead they would say, Kasedian Ngeti. Can we practice saying that to each other? Kasedian Ngeti. Let's say it again. Kasedian Ngeti. Which translates to mean, and how are the children? This greeting was more than words, but it was a philosophy. It was a reminder that the well-being of the children was the highest priority of the village, the truest measure of a community's strength. The expected response was always, and all of the children are well, meaning that peace prevailed. The young were protected, and the community had not forgotten its purpose. So today I asked us to reflect, can we say the same? Are all of our children well? Because like the mighty Maasai recognized, when the children are well, the community is well. When the children are well, the crime rates are going down. When the children are well, graduation rates go up. When the children are well, the future is brighter for all of us. And that is why we are here today, to strategize, to collaborate, and to ensure that our babies, our children, are well. Together we have the power to make mentorship in all forms, not just an opportunity, but an expectation, a responsibility that we all share. The responsibility alone is not enough, though. We need action. We need insight. We need to learn from those who have been doing the work, who understand the challenges and the opportunities that come with mentoring our young people. And so that is why I am honored to introduce our panelists today. Leaders, mentors, and change makers who will help us dive deeper into what it truly means to build that village of support. They bring experience and passion and commitment to ensuring that every child has the guidance and encouragement that they need to survive and to thrive. Better yet, they are here to help us to ensure that all of our children are well. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have, let me see who we have. My boss, number one, Jennifer Spitler, who is the CEO and president of Big Brother Big Sister. Please give her a round of applause. We have Kevin Parker, a big and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Give him a hand. Dwayne Murdoch, who is also a big and a Big Brothers Big Sister ambassador board member. We have Brandy Lusk, who is a big and with the Ann Arbor JCs. Did I say that? And then we have DK Williams, who is the operations director with Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Carolina. So the first question, panel, that it can go to anybody. Can you share your personal journey of what inspired you to advocate for mentorship and what led you to Big Brothers Big Sisters? And that question is for anyone.
Well, the microphone was handed to me, so I'll go first. Sure you don't want to go first, Dwayne? So I'm Jen Spitler again, and I would say that for me, it came from a couple of places. One, I was, and sometimes still am, a bit incorrigible. I was a rough teen. I had a lot of things going on in my life and a lot of feelings and maybe feelings of shortfall and all the stuff and angst that many teenagers go through. And I know without a doubt, had I not had mentors, I wouldn't have moved on. It just wouldn't have happened. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but there were people who believed in me and kind of pushed me to figure out what that was. So I think that was the first thing. The second, in terms of mentorship, was my first job as an AmeriCorps. I worked in the Cleveland Public Schools in an intergenerational tutoring program. So I say at the time, when I became a social worker, there were two populations that I was not overly interested in working with, and it was older adults and children. I worked with volunteers 55 and over, teaching kids K through 3 to read. I got mine. And it is where my passion for mentorship came, watching those relationships flourish while they were also teaching kids to read, and watching those adults and how they opened up to me and trusted me to help guide them was huge. And then I would say, very quickly, I think the last thing that brought me here, specifically to Big Brothers Big Sisters, was that concept of social capital, right? I had a friend who worked at Big Brothers Big Sisters and said, I think you'd be great at this. And I have been very fortunate in my life to have that social capital take me places, and the network of people take me places, and I know that many young people struggle with that or maybe don't have the networks around them, and I think that's one thing that mentorship and programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters and many of the others in the room can help provide.
Thank you, Jen. That was good. Anybody else want to answer?
Thank you, everyone. My personal journey, I believe, started as a kid when growing up, you didn't realize that there were a lot of people that were depositing and investing in you as a kid. So again, it's based on my reflection and how I ended up at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And again, through those deposits, encouraged me, just like my childhood was similar. In other words, I grew up in the church, had pretty much both my parents at home, but my neighborhood, I was, I could have went one way or another. But I ended up going to college, and in that time, I was introduced to my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and being around just kind of like-minded men and men that were ambitious, men that were just kind of had goals, and you seeing them do things kind of was inspiring to me. Came home back to Michigan, and I just said, I got to do something. I got to do something. So this is my second term or stint with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, I started in mid-1990s, and I was introduced to a young man named Antoine. And during that time together, and this was after I graduated, because I wanted to give back. I wanted to deposit and invest in somebody just like people invested and deposited in myself. And so through that just connection with meeting Antoine, we were like best friends almost over a little bit of time. I would go get him every week, and we would just like roll. That was like my road dog. We were just doing all types of things together. And again, just seeing that he was part of my wedding, he was basically part of my family. We eventually lost contact as he got a little older and things like that. And after raising a family of my own, it was time to give back again for myself. And through that, again, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I enlisted to be a Big again, and they partnered me up with AJ, and that's my little brother, and I'm just so excited to give back and invest into somebody else and encourage them. That's my journey.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, that was kind of hard to come behind. So I guess my journey started when I was in, I want to say high school. I didn't really have mentors because I was in a place where we didn't have Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We didn't have Boys and Girls Club. We didn't have anything. So I was pretty much in the streets, just going out, going with the wind. And I didn't really realize how important it was to have people in my life that was, mentors or someone to tell me right and wrong until I got into an adult. And I started to look back and like, oh wow, I was really going crazy around here, and I could have been doing other things. And so I decided I wanted to try Big Brothers, Big Sisters to give other kids a different path that I went on and try to do something different. Because I didn't live the best life, but I know other people can do better, and I know I can help them do it. So.
Thank you. Now I gotta follow that.
It's gonna be fun. I guess, well, like everyone else, kind of, I don't know, just come from a rough situation growing up, and I played sports, so thankfully I did have that. I had some coaches that kind of deposited and invested in me a little bit, so that got me at least through high school graduation. However, I didn't really have a mentor to, I guess, to continue to go with me and have that positive support on through college. So I decided to go the other way, and that led me down a rough path, like my early going on. And I don't know, I just feel like now, like he said, looking back, you're like, man, like I wish I had somebody like that could, after meeting everybody and in here and on the stage and other places, you're just like, man, like I can do that, and I don't want, even if I can't just help like one person, you know what I mean? Like not go down that same road. So, because that's a really hard road to go down. But yeah, so I don't know. Now I got Jordan, and he's kind of giving me a reason to love again. So yeah, he became very hardened. So yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, so for me, I would say I grew up what people labeled or defined as fatherless. So I grew up without my biological father inside my home, single parent household, and my mom was incredible, but never really had a positive male role model. And so there was kind of this wound or this hole within me growing up of like, man, I wish I had my biological father. And so mentorship for me really started in the fact of actually giving something that I never received, and that was when I had my own children. So when I became a father, not in the formal sense of how we define mentorship, but I was like, I'm gonna give extra and abundantly more than what I felt I received from my father. And I think that's really where my mentorship journey started, was through fatherhood.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, DK. Jen, I'm going to start with you and talk to you a little bit about retention. What are some of the key challenges that Big Brothers Big Sisters faces in recruiting, and not just recruiting, but maintaining mentors, and how can individuals, corporations, and even the community at large step up to bridge some of these gaps?
So I think there's a couple things just to break it down. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a one-to-one mentoring program, right? I think that some folks wonder, like, what do we do? How do we do it? How does it play out? That is our core. That is what we do. But we also wrap ourselves around kids and families as best we can to provide resources and additional supports to them once they're matched in the program. But what I would say is like that recruitment retention gap is we have, and this is indicative of volunteerism, we have more women coming through the door than men, right, in a volunteer program. And most of the kids on our wait list or who wait the longest are boys. And that is something that we see across the country with Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's not just here in Detroit or in Ypsi or in Pontiac. Like, it is kind of indicative of that space. So one of the things we've been trying to figure out and think about is how do we partner with other entities? What do we do to help engage those young people that are on our wait list that are waiting for a big, specifically of their own? Not that we won't continue to look for a big for them, but it's thinking about, I think, the mission bigger and thinking about it in the vision. The vision is that kids achieve their full potential. The mission is around one-to-one mentoring. So we've been really trying to think about how do we lean in more towards the vision and partner with other youth development programs or create programming inside of what we do to help those kids reach their full potential, whether they are matched with a big or not. And that's where I think that corporations and others come into play, that, yeah, if you have time to be a big, you want to be a big, and I think that as these folks share their journeys as bigs, I hope that you see yourself in that, because I think that many times folks are like, well, that's not for me, I can't do that, I don't have the time, am I a good enough role model? Like, all this goes on in everybody's heads, but showing up and walking the path with a child is what's most important. Showing up, right, Randy? Like, showing up consistently. That is the piece that really is what's important, I think, for young people. So when I think about what we can do and what we want to share today, it's what are those other things, right? Who can we partner with and what organizations can help us reach more waitlist kids, providing other opportunities and experiences for them that help with their development, even if it's outside of that one-to-one space, while we continue to work on building the resources for one-to-one mentoring.
That's good, thank you. Thank you. The next question I'm going to ask is for you, Kevin. You and the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity dedicate your time and resources to Big Brothers Big Sisters programs like Big Neighbors. You've been a part of our adopted family and other volunteer opportunities. So I guess I want to ask, like, what are the things that drive you to do that?
A few things. Our mission is to definitely be a service to all mankind. And with that, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is one of our national partners. So for me, it initially started as a personal mission for me to partner up and mentor young male and lead that initiative and things like that. But after getting back active with my fraternity and knowing that it was a national partnership, that's what I wanted to make it personal. And I've been working with a few of the leadership staff here and showing and demonstrating that we care. We really care about our community. We care about our kids. We also have a program called Go to High School, Go to College. Scholarships and manly deeds are something that we truly believe in, and so we want to see, and we understand that investment, that involvement with young men can encourage them, and we know the trajectory of when the mentorship is done versus when it's not done, or the lack thereof. So that is our goal, that is our mission, that is our mindset, is to give back and make sure that we're making an impact.
That's great, thank you so much. I'm gonna just keep going down the line, Joanne. I'm gonna ask you a different question. You understand firsthand the power of mentorship. So can you share maybe a memorable story or a moment through our organization that really underscores why this work is so important, why it's so important to you?
Okay, so specific story, I'll go back to when I first met my little. So this is when I first started the program. I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know if he was going to think that I was fun, boring. I thought I was annoying because I'm annoying. I'm like a big kid, so I'm like I don't know how this kid is going to be towards me. So when I meet this kid, and it was just automatic. Like we were brothers. We was all in the woods going looking for bugs. I got to be a kid again. He got to be himself. It was like that's the reason why I like doing this. Like I like letting kids do what they want to do, and I like to be a kid again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Joanne.
So first of all, I just want to say congratulations because Juwayne is our Big Brother of the Year this year. And as I've shared his story, I think as you talk about the bugs, and I share our stories a lot, right, in the media and on radio shows, and one of the things that always stands out or has stood out as I told your story was that they got tadpoles. And guess what happens when you get tadpoles? They grow into frogs. And this is not a space that was your space. Yeah. This was his space.
I would never touch no frogs.
No.
I don't know anything about frogs. And now I got like a toad. I found a toad outside, and I found a toad outside my house, and I was like, oh, Zay will love this. And I like picked it up, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't touch frogs.
It's just that
it transforms everybody.
right? With our littles that is
Yes.
so important, I think, for people to I don't think I can talk loud enough, to understand about why that mentorship is so critical and important, and it gives a sense of belonging, being seen and recognized by young people.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that story. Brandy, like Joanne talked about uncertainty, many people do hesitate to become mentors due to time constraints or being uncertain about whether they'll be a good big or a good role model. Can you briefly maybe explain the time commitments with your site-based role to the community one, and how do you address time commitments, fears, and encourage others to be a part of our program?
Yeah, so I originally started out as being just kind of like a lunch buddy. So that's site-based. You just go 45 minutes a day for like one day a week, and you go have lunch with your kid and go run around and just basically try not to have a heart attack with them. It's pretty much like, that's like the biggest thing. Sorry. But I would say, so like that's probably the least amount of time commitment that you get. It's 45 minutes, it's your lunch break. You know what I mean? It's not that big, and it's like really giving something back to that kid. And the next thing you know, their friends are coming around to you, and they're wanting to know like why they don't have somebody here with them playing, and like, so it can just really get the ball rolling, I think, in other avenues as far as like more kids wanting to be involved, or which then we need more of you all to get involved also. So I don't know, I think the time commitment thing is, I understand it. I just recently transferred from 3 jobs to 2 jobs, and I also do a lot in the community. So it's, I get it, it can be very difficult, but also I got to move into community-based, which fortunately because of my little situation, I'm still able to be around him. Otherwise, I would not be, because he's not currently at that school anymore. They had to move somewhere else. So I just travel now to go see him. So it's a little bit more of a time constraint, but it's the least that I can do. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. Like he deserves a lot. So it's the least I can do. And which is also another thing, we can be girls and still have boys. I was a little nervous about that too, like, oh, this might be not go well, but I think they just was like, oh, you're an athlete so you can run, but they forgot that I'm old now to shave. So.
That part.
But I try.
Thank you, Brandon. DK, I'm going to jump a little bit. I'm going to ask you about how you utilize your extensive network and professional influence to create opportunities that advance the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters, whether through mentorship or strategic partnerships or resource development, those sorts of things. How do you utilize that?
Yeah, so for me, I guess you could call me a micro-influencer through social media. I was able to start an organization called Detroit Father. Again, coming from my own personal story of growing up without a father, I wanted to use my social media platform to tell positive stories about fatherhood, which is also, again, mentorship for me. And so one of the ways that I do that is through storytelling, connecting with community partners, as well as uplifting our stories that we tell through our social media on my platform, which transcends, I think this microphone, right, is able to reach a lot of people. It's almost like a ripple effect, and you can do that through social media. And that's how I leverage my network. And so I would just kind of encourage everyone, right, that one share, that one like, it does add to the algorithm. It does become a ripple effect in ways that you can uplift our story and share what we're doing. And that's the way that I connect with my network. LinkedIn is another big one, just sharing, right, a post on their former co-workers, former networks that I have. They're all able to see what we're doing here at Big Brothers Big Sisters just by one share or one like. So that's how I do it.
That's awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna come back to you, Jen. Yes. Just gonna keep working my way down. Because I want to talk a little bit about the wait list. With over 200 kids currently on our wait list waiting for a mentor, why is this work at Big Brothers and Big Sisters more critical than ever today? How do these connections create lifelong and life-changing opportunities? So talk to us a little bit about the critical nature of this wait list and why this work is so important right now.
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier in the back of the room with Carl. I talked about this with Carl a little bit in the back of the room before we started. Is, kids today, right, their experiences are very different than many of you in this room. Mine, I'm 52 years old, I did not have social media, we did not have all of these things swirling around in terms of expectations and what other people are doing and how they're living and the good stuff we're putting out there that maybe is real or isn't real. All those pieces that create something for young people. We know that there is a mental health crisis. We know from the Surgeon General that there is a crisis around loneliness and connection. And that was pre-COVID. So then what COVID created was just more, right? Like breaks in that and folks' abilities to connect and create support networks and social networks. So I think when I think about the work that we do, we're a prevention program. We're not an intervention program. Not that we don't intervene in some ways, right? But our role, and as Bigs, is to step in and help kids figure out what's next. How do you make where are the sparks? Where's the thing that really, that you really enjoy? Giving them options and opportunities that they wouldn't experience otherwise. Brandy and Jordan went to the Henry Ford last weekend and learned a lot together in their time there. And then, following that up with what was interesting to you? And what are you interested in doing next? And those pieces of showing up for young people, and I think, I don't know that a lot of folks talk about this, but one of the things that I have to reflect on every single time that there is a school shooting or a community shooting is, where are the mentors in these young people's lives? Now, I know we can't reach them all, right? We have 200 kids on our wait list already. We serve, 450, 500 kids a year. There's a lot of other organizations out there doing it, but kids are picking up guns, whether it's in rural communities, urban communities, or suburban communities, because they do not have someone that shows up for them regularly, and they have, I believe, just that inability of someone to have the conversation about, I'm just gonna say emotional regulation, I know that that's an academic word, but that's what it is, right? In your head, what's going on? How do you manage the feelings that you're feeling? And who is there to talk to you about that? One of the things that Bigs do, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I find and have always found to be the most amazing stories that I hear about Bigs and Littles is car time. If you're a parent, this is how I experienced it. My kids asked me questions when they didn't have to look me in the eye. We have bigs and littles who, the conversation that happens in the car on the way to the woods, on the way to Henry Ford, on the way to the basketball game, whatever you're doing, that's time where kids get to say some things and think about some things. We had one big and little who kept a notebook. The little was too little to sit in the front seat, so she sat in the back, but there was a notebook under the seat where she could write a question to the big or express whatever, and then the big could write it back to her if it was something that she was having a hard time saying out loud. Bigs create that space for young people, and I think that's why not only having one-to-one bigs, but I think that what we see is with our team members, our staff, our program staff, they become quasi-mentors, right? To families that they're serving. Those kids learn to share with them and rely on them as well. And I think that all of those roles of showing up for kids and being open to hearing their stories and what they need to share is critical right now.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. This question, I think, just for anybody as we're wrapping on time and we want to give time for audience questions is, what is your why? What is your why for the work, for our young people? What is your why?
My why is for the future youth that have to run this country, to give them a chance to actually run it. Because with it actually going the way it's going, I don't see many youth living past the ages of like 20, 25, 30, because they're all losing their lives too early. And I feel like this mentorship thing is like one of these things that we can do to prevent them from even going to the wrong path or going to something that's potentially dangerous to them.
Yes, it's on me. My why, that's a hard one. I guess, well, I guess you kind of know why a little bit, but I guess the reason of why I stayed is, I mean, besides the fact his little stinking face is just so cute, but like, I don't know, I was just talking to a friend actually on the way up here, and we were discussing, they're also a JC member with me, which if you don't know, that's the junior chamber. I believe Detroit has one, we're kind of all over, but we like to help in the community. So, but what I was saying was that my little, I found out like 2 years ago, I believe it was, or maybe it was last year, had never once in his life slept in a bed. Like, how are you 10 years old and you've never slept in a bed? I don't mean to laugh at that, I just like, that blows my mind. Because no matter like what kind of crap you've been in, you at least have a mattress on the floor or something. Like, he just slept on a pile of blankets his whole life. And so, with the organization, the JCs, I kind of put up, I call it like the JC bat signal. And next thing I know, like, people are willing to help. We're getting bed in for him. We got a second bed in because his mom didn't have a bed. So, I don't know, I guess that's why I stayed. Like, I know that he needs a lot. I don't have a lot, but I got my heart, and we have outside members and organizations that can help. I don't have a lot of money to do stuff with it, but with you guys, it's help you all give us tickets and different things so that we can take our littles. So, I don't know, that's my why, and I think that should be your all's why.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I would say my why is kind of going back to that hole within my heart of growing up without my biological father. And I go back to that little boy and I think about the emotional regulation that I didn't have. Thankfully, I had a social worker in first grade who brought me to her office, and she had an emotional wheel. And she would say, before we talk about anything, how are you feeling? And just having someone ask me that question, that's a question that I still ask myself every day. How am I feeling? What's going on inside of me? So my why is I know the pain of growing up without a father, without that positive male role model, and I don't want any child around me, within my community, to go through that pain, because it's a pain. It's almost like the proverb, if you can literally heal a child or work with a child, it's a lot easier to do that than to try to heal an adult and a broken adult. And so that's my why every day I wake up. What can I do to restore the past and build the future? And that's the work that we're doing. That's what drew me to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, but it's also what draws me to do the work that I do, outside of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, because I'm trying to build the future, restore the past.
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
My why is twofold. Yes, my why is I definitely want to impact youth and give him a different outlook and different perspective of life. But also, I've learned through this my second time, the impact that it has on myself as a person and how it changes me, because it's things that you don't see or feel until you're investing in others and you realize that you're giving of yourself and the impact that it has on you. And you may see yourself a little bit, or you may see how the impact is having on your impact is having on your little, and the change that is taking place inside of yourself. So for me, it's that twofold. It's seeing that I have an impact on somebody, but I know also that it's impacting and changing myself as well. That's my why.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We're gonna see if there's any questions from the audience. We want to save time. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask the panelists, specifically about them or about the organization, please. Yes.
How long did it take you to connect with
The question was, how long did it take to connect with your little, right?
Oh, okay. For each little, it was different. For my first little, it took maybe just a few months, I believe, about 3 months. For this go round, he was a little older, in some ways, teens or preteens or whatever, got a certain little mindset at times. So we're still working on it. We're still growing, but I think we did break through some initial, I don't know you, you don't know me. We kind of filling each other out a little bit, but it's still going and growing, but it's moving forward.
Thank you.
I would say it took, I want to say about the next meeting, like a week or two, because like we were already playing the first meeting, so the next meeting we was like, yeah, let's go play again.
For me, like I started out, like I said, it's site-based, so at the school, and really we didn't talk much at all for very little was said for the first several months. As long as I ran with him, he was good, and I thought I was doing something wrong, because I was like, why did you just get talking to me? Granted, he was only like 9, excuse me, he was only 9, but it's still like something. There wasn't just a lot of conversation, but it picked up, it's picked up, but really all that Big Brothers Big Sisters kept reminding me was that as long as you're here playing with him, that's all that he cares about, and his friends are coming over and wanting to meet you, and they're kind of jealous that they don't have somebody to play with, so I don't know, it just happens, I guess. Like you said, every little's different, but it will happen. It will happen because you're in that kid's life for a reason. So God or the universe, I think, will definitely make sure that happens. Yeah. Okay.
And another question?
Can I just share real quick? One of the things that I find in that experience for Bigs is what we know about kids is they won't go with you if they don't like you, right? You can see it on their face. You can see it in how they interact with you. And so I think it takes time because many of the young people that we work with are coming from situations where maybe trust has been broken and consistency hasn't been there. And so you have to just keep showing up. And then they can sometimes just spill their guts. And that's where, the real stuff starts happening.
That's true, very true. I'm gonna bring the mic out here.
So at the beginning, you spoke on mentor retention as being an issue that you guys are facing. Do you have any data to figure out why you're not able to maintain mentors And what have you done, if you have that data, to kind of keep those folks from leaving your program?
So one of the things that we look at is 12-month retention rate. That's the first thing that we look at, because research shows that 12 months, and that's what we ask for in our program in terms of the commitment. 12 months is really where you start having the greatest impact, right? Because you get through some of those things to where, okay, this person's consistent, I trust them, and then your influence can start making a little bit of a difference. Our retention rate's about 75% of matches that make it to a year. That's actually the annual average across the country for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, so we're kind of right in there, but it's still not good enough, right? 100% is what we want, at least, right? Or you want 100%, you want those matches to last. So we've dug into some of those pieces. I can't give you really good data right now because we are a newly merged organization, as many of you know, or some of you may know, we merged in 2023. The Metro Detroit and the Washtenaw County agencies merged, and so all of our data and looking at it, but we do a strength of relationship survey, and we do it at 3 months, and then we do it at 12 months. And the reason that we do that survey is so that we can pick up at 3 months what's happening here. Is it closeness? Is it connection? And how can our match support specialists lean into that relationship to help do any problem solving that might need to happen to allow the relationship to at least make it to that 12-month time piece. But we do have a 2-year plus average match length. So our matches on average are together for more than 2 years, even though we do only ask for that year commitment. I think the other thing, and it kind of goes off of that, it's not necessarily that question, but that I think about is the impact that you can make and the time period that you need to make it in. Like if we all take a moment and think about like how long was the teacher in your life, how long was the coach in your life, how long was the pastor in your life, whoever that person was that a long-term relationship, was it a shorter relationship? And a lot of impact can happen in shorter periods of time as well. But our goal from a retention rate is really that those bigs become rematched, right? That they, right, like if their relationship ends, like the next little that's on the wait list, if you would do that, become a big again. But we need to dig into that just so that we can see collectively what it looks like across our full service area now, and we haven't done that yet.
Thank you. Have another question here.
So is there an age limit, and for those that have a license, if they detect abuse or neglect, how do you manage that? Good question.
Age limit for bigs? No. There is no age limit for bigs. We match everybody based on preferences, from interviewing the family, interviewing the kids, interviewing the volunteers, trying to make matches that make sense. Whether it's you have common interests or whether it's you are a person who can help that young person explore their interests. In terms of licensing, you mean in terms of mandated reporting? We are all mandated reporters at our organization, and so what that means is that if there is suspected abuse or neglect, we have to report it. But as we share and we talk about that with our bigs and with our families, our goal is to get you the resources you need. Right? We make reports, we have to make reports occasionally, but it really is about making sure that they have what they need so that we don't have to make reports. How do we additionally support those things beyond just the mentoring relationship?
Great, thank you.
My question was just, what are the age ranges of the kids in the program?
We enroll kids at 7 and we match them at 8. And then we will match them anytime up until their 16th birthday. And the reason for that is that they age out of the program at 18 or graduating high school. So we want to make sure that we don't match a kid who's only going to be matched for a couple of months. So that's why we don't match past the age of 16.
Good morning. So I wanted to find out, I work for the Y Union and we do workforce development there. And do you all have a process when they're older, transitioning them into college or the workforce, or like, do you partner with organizations? How does that process go?
So most of that space, I think, happens more one-on-one with their big when it's in a community-based program, right? Like their big is helping guide and giving them some of those supports of, you know, how to fill out applications and do those things. In our school-based program, we have high school programs where we do a lot of that through our curriculum. As young people are going through high school, what are the kinds of things that we need to help them with around financial aid and application, and making the decision about college or career, right? Like, what is the direction that they're taking? There is a movement within Big Brothers Big Sisters. We are not there yet, but there is a movement for a Big Futures program, which is, and we've seen this, I would estimate maybe 20 of the 200 plus organizations across the country are moving into supporting young people up to 24, 25, if they've been in the program, right? Like, probably not creating new programs for that age group, but if your little's in the program, how do we continue to support? Because we know first-gen college students, what do you need? We know what the dropout rates look like for first-gen students in their first year and the expense of that. So we've really been looking at that as a national program of how do we lean into that space more.
Good morning to the panel, and thank you for being here, giving us this insightful information for Mentoring Month. I have a two-part question. I'm interested in the site-based program. I wanted to know what was the weekly hour commitment for that at the schools. And also, my day job, I'm a civil servant with the state of Michigan, and do you guys partner with, employers to have the flexibility? So if I dedicated 2 hours a week, how would I work that out with my, because based upon my job, sometimes certain days I can't go out. I may not be able to go out to the site because there's training at my job, or I don't know how do you guys partner with employers who are interested in working in this site-based program?
Thank you. Thank you. Do I want to answer it?
I mean, you're the program director.
I am the program director. Yeah, we have been, so we do partner with organizations to have employees come to our sites, or for one of our partnerships, we take our kids to the site. So with Ally, we take our kids from Pershing High School to Ally, and they have mentors there. So I think what I heard you ask was there some type of collaboration with your employer to make sure that your time spent with the little, and there is collaborations that we have. If we are working together, like your organization, not just on a personal level, but if your organization wants to support a school and become a big source for us in our school-based program, then there are opportunities there as well.
And what is the time commitment per week? Or?
It's 1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour.
I gotta come back down. Get my steps in today. Okay, I see 2 hands. One here, one here, one here. I got 3 hands. Okay.
Do you all have any mental health organizations or partnerships that you guys work with to help, like, the children within the program, but also the children that's on the wait list?
Timely question. We have different referral sources. We'll refer out kids to other organizations that make sense and that are local. The one thing that we're actually working on is we have a pilot grant to create a therapeutic mentoring program, which is a model of mentoring that is utilized mostly in Massachusetts right now, but also in some other places around the country, where we have a licensed social worker and therapist on staff that creates what I like to think of as warm handoff. I hate families having to tell their stories time and time and time again. So if they've shared them during our enrollment process, like what are the pieces that we can share with that therapist so that it can be a smooth transition, and then creating additional supports and trainings for our bigs of how they can lean in to that space. There's a lot of, I think, folks who reach out to big brothers, big sisters, maybe for some challenges, or I like to think of the behavioral things they see with their child, but there's something behind that, and what are the things that we can help address that are behind that by having a therapeutic model, and we're also looking to figure out how to bring support groups into our model so that we can kind of provide it in-house and not have to refer out. Obviously, there's a lot of programs that we do refer out to already, but this is just a space that we've been looking at because the wait lists are so long in so many places, and if we already have access to these young people, how can we wrap around more to provide the services and supports that they need? Yeah.
Good morning. I represent the Michigan Science Center, where I'm the chief of staff, and I just wanted to know how we can support. I'm willing to do group field trips or offer tickets, so just wanted to know who's the best person to contact, and I'll give them my card, and you contact me and let me know what you need.
Thank you very much. I will connect you.
Jocelyn would be that person today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will be happy to connect.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then this will be our last question.
Can the bigs answer how much time commitment? You know, if you're really not interested in going to the woods and looking at bugs, what kind of stuff do you do, or what is the time commitment?
So the time commitment is only about an hour or two every every 2 weeks. It's like you only meet twice a month, but I meet twice a month, but I don't do an hour or two. I do like 3-4 hours, maybe 5. It depends on what we're doing. We get lost in the woods.
He really liked the bugs for real. He's trying to front. He liked the bugs.
We do different things. So sometimes he wanna look for frog eggs. I don't know. I don't look for frog eggs because I don't want to do no more typos. We go roller skating. We go ice skating. We do most stuff outside. Most stuff we do outside. We love outside.
Yeah, like you said, it's the requirement is 2 times a month that you see them, but you can see them as often as you would like, especially if you're community-based. Site-based obviously is just that 1 hour a week. You can't see them outside of school. So I would definitely say it's what you can give, you know. My personal situation, and they're very understanding of it, because my kid is in a really bad situation and now they're in a whole other county. They're kind of lenient, and I've been doing like once a month, but I check in on him on the phone weekly. But that's just because of the driving situation right now, but hopefully that changes, because I definitely miss seeing him more than once a month. That's kind of hard. So you definitely do get attached to them.
Thank you.
I would just encourage everyone who has an interest. The time commitment, yes, you want to kind of meet the minimum of that, but that you do it from the heart. And I think that's what's recognized, and what's I guess permeates to your little is that they know that you care. And so whether you know, I've been in Greenfield Village and Henry Ford Museum, and then we've done, hey, my little likes French fries. That's his favorite food. Sometimes we'll just go grab some French fries, ketchup or whatever, and it's not as long. So it's not, I guess, just the time base, it's the genuineness of the meeting itself.
That's good, yeah. Let's give our panelists a hand. Thank you all. Before we wrap up today, I'd like to introduce Raymond Simpson, who's coming here on behalf of Council President Mary Sheffield, who oversees this District 5. So please give him a round of applause as he comes up and shares with us for a few moments.
What up, though?
Hey, what up?
We in Detroit. I gotta say it one more time. What up, though?
What up, though?
You know, first off to the panel, can we provide another round of applause because you know, being a recipient of having a great mentor in my life, coming from a single father home, the work you do, seriously, the work you do is oftentimes it's not commended and people don't notice it, but it provides a great impact on lives. You know what I'm saying? And I can't express in words how impactful it is, the things that you do. Seriously, outside of the time commitment, just the wherewithal to want to do something first is just amazing. It's God's work. I represent Council President Mary Sheffield. We do a lot of events in this room, toy drives, community events, and one thing she always likes to say is children are not the future, they are the now, so your commitment to the now is exceptional. And again, thank you, seriously. You know, they asked me to speak and keep my comments short. They wanted me to talk about, you know, the importance of programs like this. And, you know, these stories, what I just mentioned briefly, is self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? I stand before you as a recipient of a mentee, a high school dropout, and, you know, I'm currently the director of community relations for the council president, and she is also a candidate for mayor. I might want to throw that in there for y'all. Again, you know, care and love, I don't look at that in a scope of, you know, having color associated with it, color or gender. It's a selfless act, and it's needed. Whatever we can do in our office as council president, hopefully mayor real soon, we want to know y'all have our full support. Individuals in this room that want to volunteer and commit to this program, I fully encourage it. And again, thank you, seriously, thank you. And I want to wrap up. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. As we wrap, I'm going to bring up our president CEO. I mean, you know, to say some final words.
I like to sit and chat. That's just my way. I would be remiss not to thank our team who helped put this together this morning. Our staff worked tirelessly to make sure that our families have the resources and support that they need. Sherry puts together amazing community engagement events. Where'd she go? Sherry's had me on more talk shows and community TV things in the last month than I've been on in quite some time. But there is nothing that I love more than to tell our stories, because my why is y'all. It fills me every day when I see these relationships flourish and the stories, and I get to tell them. It makes my day go quicker than sitting behind a laptop. But want to thank you, Sherry. Want to thank the team for helping work this morning. Want to thank our vendors and all of you that are here to kind of share and connect and figure out ways that we can partner together. I want to thank all of you in the audience who came to also figure that out. This is collective work, right? Big Brothers Big Sisters, I know, has a brand and name recognition that folks will come to us many times, and sometimes it's for things that like we can't connect on or we can't partner on. One of the things that I try to do and I want to really think more about is if someone comes to us and it's not something we can do, how do we connect them to another youth development program or mentoring organization, whether it's here in Durfee or in other places in the community? So creating more connections so that we can help build that web of network for more kids, whether we're serving them or someone else in the community is serving them. I think that that's really important. Our word this year is joy. We're really trying to lean into joy. It is hard, I think, for all of us as adults sometimes to navigate the day-to-day and the news and the different things that come out, but we're trying to see things as glass half full because of stories like y'all's. Right? Like that's what fills us. And so having some joy around the impact of mentoring is really what this morning is about. Like we talked about, we have 200 kids on the wait list. That does not include the kids who are not on the wait list yet, but are sitting in the enrollment queue, waiting for us to interview them for a big. There are so many kids in our community that really could benefit from having a mentor. So if there's something that resonated with you this morning, please think about how you can partner with us to help reach them, to show them that we care, and to make sure that they feel what we all should feel, which is connected to community and to people and, you know, creating some joyous moments. So we have additional information at the registration table. You all have stuff on your tables. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a donor-supported volunteer organization, right? We live and breathe on the backs of those that give to support our program and the volunteers that commit their time to providing those really cool opportunities for kids. So there's a donation envelope. Please give if you can. If not, give what you can, how you can. We also have a big fundraiser coming up on March 20th called the Great Big Auction. So there's more information about that you can learn of how to engage with Big Brothers Big Sisters if your company does corporate sponsorships or buys tables to things. There are ways that you can support those that do if you don't have the time or the ability to do at this moment. So just think of all of those ways and all of those things and how we can pour into our kids.
Thank you. I call her boss lady. Thank you, boss. Give her a round of applause. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. I need y'all to do me a favor. They put me up to this, so don't blame me. But I need everybody to stand up, if you can. We talked about joy, and we talked about all of those things. So what we're gonna do right now is 30 seconds. What is it, 10 o'clock? All right, so we need to be shaking it off now anyway. 30 seconds of a little dance party. Your best moves. I told Sherry I was dusting off my stanky leg. So you do whatever it is that you do for 30 seconds, all right? We got some music. I got a little. And I'm not the DJ. I don't know what's going to play, so. Turn it on. My bad. Okay, here we go. Come on, thank you, ladies. Your day. Thank you for being here, and always remember, keep in your mind, if you ask yourself, how are the children? And if you cannot say that the children are well, then that means we still have work to do. So give somebody a high five, tell them I thank you for coming, and have a great rest of your day.